Hello students, I am Ranjita N, Assistant Professor, Department of MBA, Sai Vidya Institute of Technology, Rajan Kunte, Bangalore. Today I am going to discuss about Module 2, Income from Salary. Let us see what and all the contents included in second module. Introduction, meaning of salary, allowances, valuations of taxability of perquisites, death cum retirement benefits, deductions against salary, income from house property. Only theory part has to be considered, students. Problems on salary income is very important for your examination purpose. Let us have a look at the contents of today's topic. In today's topic, we are going to discuss about introductions of salary, meaning of salary, and the allowances. You know, students, when you join for a job, you're going to receive some of the salary for the services rendered by you. When you join for a job, in returns, you will get a income. Such an income is known as salary. Such salary is taxable under the head income from salary. Both the monetary payments and the non-monetary payments are taxable under the head salary. Examples for your monetary payments are basic salary, bonus, commission, allowances, etc. Examples for your non-monetary facilities are housing accommodations, medical facilities, interest-free loans, etc. See here, students, here you may receive the salary in the form of monetary payments or in the form of non-monetary payments. Both are taxable under the head income from salary. Even you may receive the full-time salary or the part-time salary. Both are taxable under the head income from salary. And see here, students, here the relationship between the employer and employee plays a very important role. There must be an relationship between the employer and the employee. If there is no relationship, such income cannot be taxable under the head income from salary. For example, remuneration, bonus, or the commission which is received by a partners from a firm is not taxable under the head income from salary. Rather, it would be taxable under the head business or profession. This is because the firm is not an employer and partner is not an employee. All the partners are employer of the firm, so the income is not taxable under the head income from salary. It is taxed under the head income from business or profession. Here the relationship between the employer and employee has not taken place, so it is not taxable under the head income from salary. In the same way, the remuneration which is received by the MPs and MLAs, it is also not taxed under the head income from salary, because there is also no relationship between the employer and the employee. Here, the MPs and MLAs are appointed by the people, that is nothing but citizens of India, and they are paid by the central government or the state government. So here also there is no existence of relationship between the employer and the employee, so such incomes are not taxed under the head income from salary. Let us move on to the next concept, students. Section 15 to 17 deals with the salary. The sections from 15 to 17, it is going to deal with the salary. Let us go one by one. The first one is section 15. It is going to deal with the basis of charge. What is this basis of charge? See here, when you earn an income, you have to know when it has to be charged to tax, whether on the due basis or on the receipt basis. Here, students, the salary is chargeable to tax either on the due basis or on the receipt basis, whichever is earlier. Whichever is earlier is taxed. Okay, we'll move on to the next concept, students, that is advance salary. What is the meaning of advance salary? So here, if you are receiving any advance of salary, for example, you may receive the salary of you're working in the month of March and you may receive the salary of April and May as of now. Okay, means here you are receiving the salary of April and May in advance. In advancely you are receiving the salary. In such a case, such salary what you have received in advance is taxable on the receipt basis. On the receipt basis, when you are receiving it, on that time you have to pay a tax to the government. And we have an outstanding salary. Outstanding salary means, see here the salary is assessed on the accrual basis and not on the receipt basis. You have rendered the services, but you have not yet received the cash or the payment. Even though you have not received the cash or payment, you have to pay a tax to the government. Means the unpaid salary will also be treated as a income, and such an income has to be taxed on the due basis. Even though you have not received, you have to pay a tax to the government. Next, arrears of salary. Any increment in the salary which has not been taxed in the past. If any increment of if any increment or any salary in the past which has not been taxed, such arrears will be taxed in the year in which it is allowed. Means in which year you are going to receive, on that year it has to be taxed. For example, due to corona, some of the institutions or organization have not yet paid the salaries for few months, but after few months they are going to pay some of the arrears to them. Such an arrears which has been collected by the salaried persons are taxable under the head income from salary. The points to be considered while calculating the income from salary are existence of relationship of employer and employee is must between the payer and payee to tax the income tax this ed. See students, as I told you earlier, there must be an existence of the employer and employee relationship. If there is no existence of employer and employee relationship, such income are not taxable under the head income from salary. That is the first thing you have to be remembered in your mind. And the second thing is, it is going to be included the salary which is due from the employer. Okay, you have rendered the services, but you have not received the salary. Such salary was also included in your salary, and the salary paid by the employer, what and all the salary you have received from your employer, such salary is also taxable. And any arrears, if there is any arrears which has been paid by your employer, such arrears is also taxable under the head income from salary during the year. Let us move on to the next direction, students, that is section 16. Section 16 deals with the deductions from salary income. In this head, you are going to get a deductions under section 16. The income chargeable under the head salary is computed after making the following under section 16. The following deductions under section 16. Standard deductions, entertainment allowance deductions, and professional tax. These are the three deductions where you are going to get under section 60. Let us start with the standard deduction. The standard deductions comes under section 16, clause 1. Here, the standard deductions will be 50,000. Earlier, it was 40,000, now it has been increased to 50,000. Here, how we are calculating the standard deductions? See, students, here we are going to compare it with the amount of salary. Here we have to compare with the amount of salary. The standard limit of 50,000 must be compared with the amount of salary, and in this, whichever is least has to be considered for our calculations. I'm repeating. Under section 16, we have three main deductions. The first one is standard deduction under section 16 clause 1. Here, the standard limit will be 50,000. You have to compare this with the amount of salary. In this, whichever is least, whichever is lower has to be considered for our deduction purpose. Next, we'll move to the entertainment allowance. Before knowing the meaning of entertainment allowance, let us understand what does the allowance means. Allowance means any amount received by the employee from his employer in order to meet some specific expenses. Here, the employee is going to receive some of the amount from his employer in order to meet what? In order to meet some of the specific expenses. For example, it may be a house rent allowance, project allowance, tiffin allowance, uniform allowance. Here, the employee is receiving amount in order to meet the specific expenses. Yes, now let us understand what is the meaning of entertainment allowances. Entertainment allowance is the fund which is given by the employee by his company, that is but nothing but employer, to pay for the client's meeting, drinks, food, hotel stay, etc. And the entertainment allowance is fully taxable for employees working in private limited or the private sectors. For the government sectors, only the deductions will be available, students, and for the non-government employees, there is no such deductions. Let us see what are the what and all the deductions are there for the government employees. In case of government employees, both in central government or in the state government, the least of the following is deductible. The least of the following is deductible. 5,000, 20% of basic salary, or the amount of entertainment allowance granted during the previous year. Among these three, which is the least among the following, it will be considered for our deduction purpose, and this deduction is available only to the government employee, that is to the central government and the state government employee only. In case of non-government employees, including the employees of statutory corporations and local authorities, it is not deductible. Let us move on to the next section, that is professional tax or tax on employment. Professional tax or tax on employment. Under section 16, clause 3. Professional tax or tax on employment will be levied by the state government under the Article 276 of the Constitutions. Actually, it will be levied by the state government, and here the maximum amount which can be imposed by the state government is 2,500 per annum, and in order to claim these deductions, you have to pay the tax in the particular year. For example, if you paid the professional tax in a particular year, in that year only you are going to get a deductions. And the one more thing is, if the professional tax is paid by the employer, in some cases the employee is going to pay the sum of the expenses of the employer. In such a case, if the employer has paid the professional tax on behalf of the employee, it is first included in the salary of the employee. As a perquisite, what we are doing is we are going to add this entertainment allowance as a perquisites in the salary, then the same amount is allowed as deductions on account of professional tax from gross salary. This is how we are going to calculate the entertainment allowance. Or a tax on employment will be levied by the state government under the Article 276 of the Constitution. The maximum limit is 2,500 per annum, and deductions is available only in the year in which the professional tax is paid. And one more thing, students, if the professional tax is paid by the employer, you know that sometimes the employer is going to pay the expenses of the employee. In such a case, it is first included in the salary of the employee as a perquisite. We are going to include it as a perquisite, and then the same amount is allowed as deductions on the account of professional tax from the gross salary. This is how we have to get a deductions under the professional tax. Let us move on to the next content, students, that is salary, section 17. Section 17 deals with the definition of salary. Let us understand, students, what is the salary includes. Salary under section 17 subsection 1 include the following monetary as well as the non-monetary payments. First one, wages. Second, annuity and pension. Third, any gratuity. Fourth, any fees, commission, perquisites or profit in lieu of or in additions to any salary or wages, any advance of salary, leave encashment, employers' contributions to Provident Fund in excess of 12% of salary, contribution by the central government or other employer in the previous year to the account of an employee under a pension scheme under section 80 CCB. Section 17 deals with the definition of salary. Let us see what is the salary includes. Salary under section 17 subsection 1 include the following monetary as well as the non-monetary payments. That is, it includes wages, annuity or pension, any gratuity, any fees, commission, perquisites or profit in lieu of or in additions to any salary or wages, any advance of salary, leave encashment, employers' contributions to Provident Fund in excess of 12% of salary, the contribution of the central government or any other employer in the previous year to the account of an employee under a pension scheme under Section 80 CCD, for example, National Pension Schemes and Atal Pension Yojana. Let us understand in details in further. Yes, students, here we have wages, annuity, gratuity, advance of salaries, leave encashment, employers' contributions, and all. We will go in details in further classes. Let us move on to the calculations of income under the head salary. This is the format to calculate the income under the head salary. Please do remember this format, students. It will help you to compute the income under the head salary. If you know this format, it will be very easy for you to compute the income from salary. Let us go through this format, students. The first thing is we have to take a basic salary. Then for this we have to add any fees, commission, bonus, gratuity, leave encashment, pension, retrenchment compensation, compensation received under the voluntary retirement scheme, any allowances, perquisites, leave travel concession, contributions of employers to provident fund, interest on recognized provident fund, or any other items. We have to add all these things to the basic salary so that you are going to get a gross salary. From that gross salary, we are going to deduct reductions under section 16. Under that, the first deduction is standard deductions, that is up to 50,000, and the second deductions is entertainment deductions, and these deductions will be available only to the government employees. And in the third deductions, you are going to get a deductions under professional tax. So after deducting all these deductions, we are going to get net salary. What? Net salary. Let us go in details what and all included in this format, students. Basic salary, the salary which you are going to receive, any fees, any commissions which you may receive, that is also taxable under the head income from salary. If there is any bonus, bonus means, what is the meaning of bonus? It means a sum of money added to a person's wages as a reward for good performance. It is the wages which has been added as a reward for the good performance. That bonus is also included in the head salary. And gratuity. Gratuity means it is a voluntary payment made by an employer in appreciation of services rendered by the employee. See here, students, gratuity means usually it will be provided to a person who is going to work for a long period of time. For example, if you have served uh, in one institutions for more than 5 years, in such a case, in order to appreciate you, the employer may going to give an lump sum amount that is known as gratuity. Gratuity is nothing but a voluntary payment which is made by an employer in appreciation of the services which has been rendered by the employee. Okay, that is nothing but your gratuity. Next, leave encashment. What is the meaning of leave encashment? Obviously, you know that students, if you are working in any company or an organization or any institutions, you will be having a different types of leave. It may be a casual leave or it may be a earned leave, it may be a national festival leaves, functions leaves, whatever it may be. Okay, sometimes the leaves what has been given to you, it may lapse or it may be carry forwarded to next year or it may be encashed. Depending upon the institutions, it may be encashed or it may be carried forwarded to next year. Leave encashment means, or the leave salary means, the salary received by the employee for not utilizing the available leaves completely. Sometimes the company may give him 25 days for a year or 30 days for a year. Okay, he may utilize all the leaves or he may not utilize the leaves. When he has not utilized the leaves, in such a case, he can surrender those leaves and he can encash the salary. That is nothing but your leave salary or leave encashment. I am repeating, students. Leave salary means the salary received by the employee for not utilizing the available leaves completely. Okay, if the employer does not utilize the available leaves, he can surrender those leaves to the employer and he can get a salary for that. For surrendering the salary, what he can get? He can get a salary. Such a salary is taxable under the head income from salary. Next, what is next? Pension. Pension is a amount or a payment which is made by the employer to his employee in consideration of the past services payable after retirement. You know that students, the pension is available only after the retirement. Is it right? It is going to be given based on your past services. Is it right, students? Yes. Let us know the real meaning. That is, pension is an amount payment made by an employer to his employee in consideration of the past services payable after retirement. There are two types of pension, students, that is commuted pension and uncommuted pension. What? Commuted pension and uncommuted pension. What is the meaning of commuted pension? Commuted pension means it's a lump sum amount taken by commuting the whole or a part of pension. It is a lump sum amount, students, okay, which is taken by commuting the whole or a part of the pension. Uncommuted pension means receiving the pension periodically. Uncommuted means receiving it periodically. Computed means receiving in a lump sum amount. Okay. Next.